Okay, it's Monday, December 9th, and we're live as we are each and every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern. While we give all the followers a chance to come in and give us a look, always a good time to ask you questions. Now, we'll go over the weekend. Talk some college football. We got a quirk in the NBA schedule. That's because of the NBA Cup or in-season tournament, whatever you want to call it. Only one game tonight. The tournament then will start the quarterfinals, I guess you'll call it, Tuesday and Wednesday. So just two games Tuesday and Wednesday. So a very, very limited schedule over the next few days. I don't do college basketball. I stay in my lane. What I am an expert at and the best in the business is NBA. And as I said, there'll be a quiet schedule coming up. Just the one game tonight. Knicks Toronto. We'll talk about that shortly. We'll cover the Tuesday and Wednesday in-season tournament games. So there's 4 quarterfinal games. And we'll talk about the NFL also. So we'll get through everything today because I won't come live Tuesday or Wednesday with the quiet schedules. And we've been getting a lack of interest, it seems. So if you guys want me, like, comment, retweet for me, and show me some love. So I'm going to take the next 2 days off. I'll be working, obviously, as we're always on top. As I'll show you now, we already got our lines set for the rest of right straight into Thursday and then Friday games. But I'll come back on Thursday. Give me some, like I said, guys, it's simple. Give me a like, give me a comment, give me a retweet. Help it out a little bit. Anyway, I see Orlando's happy. The Mets signed Juan Soto. I really don't want to get into baseball. We'll be talking plenty about what Juan Soto is going to do for the lineup. I've said it before here, and when I was back on Instagram, that lousy platform. You got a guy, Steve Cohen, a billionaire. He's a billionaire. Money means nothing. We need pitching. Still had to celebrate. Absolutely. That's where I was going to go next. Like I said, you need that stopper. An ace. A Burns-type pitcher. Your game one starter. So we'll see. Like I said, he can open up the pockets. But with Soto there, especially to get them away from the Yankees, still can't beat the Dodgers with no ace. And that's it. Pitching, guys, baseball's pitching. It's this 90% is pitching. You need hitting, of course, but you need pitching. You need that stop and you need that pen. Can we talk about the Falcons outplaying a team again and getting crushed? 21, my only NFL bet for the day. Atlanta goes right down first drive. Loved it. Fighting with the Vikings, 21 apiece going into the fourth quarter, taking 6. You feel solid. Minnesota they like to win by a field goal. They play their games tight and they open the floodgates on the Falcons. And all of a sudden, Cousins, man, just doesn't look like he get the job done anymore. But that was a tough L for an Atlanta team that needs to win. Starting yesterday, they led the NFC South, and they had a winning record on the road. Vikings always fun. Look, Vikings are real. This kid Donald, I thought maybe he was losing a little bit. He performed yesterday, 5 touchdown passes. Let the young boy play. Cousins is shit. Tough to just throw them in there. They're in the middle of a race with Tampa Bay for that division. So, Cousins is a fucking pro. Anyway, guys, let's get to it a little bit. The rest of the NFL, Chiefs do what they fucking do. And they don't fucking cover. I believe that's 7 straight now. They just don't cover. But they fucking win. But they just don't cover. The 0-7 against the spread the last 7 games. This team's got 1 loss all year, but they can't cover. Panthers and Jets cover, but Atlanta don't. Yeah. Panthers, 5 straight covers for them. They've lost their last 3 games, but 5 straight covers. Playing probably the hottest team in the league, the Eagles. So the Eagles, that's why I say, guys, if you're not rating teams home and away, you ain't got a rating. Eagles, 9 straight wins, 6-3 against the spread. The 3 L's, they've come at home. So that's, when you look at my home and away ratings, you can see the difference. Bryce is getting a lot better. Really benefited by those few games on the sideline that Dalton came in. And the guys, that's where young quarterbacks should be. Anyway, yeah, Orlando, because gambling wasn't legal nationwide in the Tom Brady days. I don't even know what that was referring to. But let's go, guys. The other football, as far as yesterday, as I said, KC does what they do. They win, but they don't cover. What do we got here? We had a Buffalo team with an obvious look ahead. They've got Detroit next. They go out to L.A. L.A. put 44 on the board. 44-42. How about that slugfest between 2 teams? 49ers look to turn the page, get themselves right. Look, they're still in it. Anything could happen. That's the 49ers. No Bane, no Jai took a chance on Washington and got cooked. You just kid, but they just no Bane, no Ja. Orlando, did you see who Washington was missing? Kuzma, Brogdon, Kispert, Sarr, George, Baldwin. They didn't have a team either. So anyway, but Seattle looks now to be the cream of that division. That defense back and healthy. They're playing good. Geno just keeps getting the job done. No Walker Jr., the running back, but the kid comes in, Chabarnett, whatever the fuck his name is, and had a monster. Seattle getting the job done. They own Arizona. Certain teams just own certain teams. That's why we put those stats up, guys. That's 7 straight Seattle over Arizona. Felt it was a letdown spot for Orlando. Not bad thinking. Not bad thinking. Coming off the big win over a Celtic team. Celtics had beat them 16 of 17 prior to the Grizzlies going into Boston and winning. So could see a letdown spot. Some teams, when we talk the falling knife, you just got to stay away. How about Washington having a letdown after beating Denver the night before? So you got both teams kind of coming in with a letdown. But let's get back to the football. As I said, Seattle looking like the cream of that division. That's good. That's going to be a great game. Next Sunday night, the Packers go to Seattle. Packers will have a little extra rest, being that they played on Thursday against Detroit. So that's going to be a good game for next week. The other game I'm looking forward to, Steelers just keep winning, man. Battle of Pennsylvania coming up next week. Pitt at Philly. And as I just said, Philly just 1-3 against the spread their last 4 home games. They just don't get it done at home. Man, they might even be 1-4 against the spread at home because they lost, as I go further back, They lost at home to Atlanta. Let me just check on this for a sec. So they lost to Atlanta. Yeah, they've had it rough at home. So a couple of good NFL games this week. I'm still working on the ratings for the NFL. Most of the ratings are up. Just getting done on the late game. Seattle, Arizona was the last one I got, so I've got two. Once I'm done here, Buffalo, Rams, re-rate. When I talk about re-rate, after every game, I re-rate the teams. Chicago, San Fran, I've got to re-rate. Chargers, KC, I've got to re-rate. And then obviously we'll re-rate the game after tonight. All those NFL ratings will be done shortly. Obviously, except the one for tonight. That'll be done tomorrow. Let's talk about tonight. We're here. Let's talk about tonight. Got Bengals and Cowboys. You've got Joe Burrow having about as good as a season as you could possibly have. Burrow, 30 touchdowns, just 5 INTs, completing 67 and change percent of his passes. How the hell are the Bengals 4-8? Well, they're 4-8 because their defense is non-existent. Ratings-wise, so if you're a Master Edge member, you know I've got the Bengals rated 27.0. I've got Dallas rated 20.0. It's a 7-point difference. I don't know that Cincinnati's coming to play anymore. Dallas has got the extra day's rest. Remember, they played Thursday last week. And also played at home. Just that little bit of an edge. As I said, a 4-8 Cincy team. Are they showing up tonight? I made a small 1-unit bet on the Cowboys just before we came on. I took the 5.5s as they were disappearing. This game is pretty much down to 5 everywhere. No big edge on this one. Joe Burrow could go into Dallas and light them up. Dallas has just shown some life their last couple of games, beating up the Giants at home. Not much to say, but getting the job done. Getting the job done the week before at Washington. Let's see how they do against Cincy. I think they'll show up to play a game. 5.5, just worth it's a small 1-unit bet, guys. It's a small 1-unit bet. Look, every bet counts, but it's a 1-unit bet. For us yesterday, I said Falcons are only NFL loser. 3 NBA bets, 2 winners, 1 loser. 76ers. We bet all 3 games. No, we bet 2 of the games the day prior, which was 76ers. We would have bet that anyway when we got the word that Embiid was upgraded to questionable. So we made that a 3-unit bet. And we thought Embiid would be limited. Get like 20 minutes, and he played 31 minutes. He had a phenomenal game. After missing his first 9 shots. So always remember, got to get that rust off. They get the rust off of Embiid. He has a good game. Look for Philly to start getting better now. If you guys are Mass Edge members, you can see their ratings already jumped up to at least a respectable. As time goes on, that's a threesome that at the beginning of the year, if these guys are healthy, Embiid, PG, Maxey, it's a solid threesome. Embiid being in made me like Philly less. Well, then, Allie, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, first quarter, yeah, if you want to bet that first quarter, if you're that type of guy, want to bet the props, got to get the rust off. But Embiid's a game changer. But yeah, I still follow your units. Appreciate it. So we take the 3-unit winner there. We give it right back with the Clippers Saturday. after making our bet for Sunday, Clippers as a home dog, Houston had lost their first 2 games of the road trip, and I just did not see Houston getting up for the Clipper game. They had beat the Clippers twice in a 2-game series back in Houston, beat them up pretty bad, and they would have Golden State next for the first game of the in-season tournament. And again, like I said, I just could not see the Rockets focusing on the Clippers. You're going to play for this in-season tournament, and you're going to play against the team. The Rockets have lost 15 straight now to the Warriors, 3-11-1 against the spread. So you would think there would be a little look ahead to that game. They sat Van Vliet, but the Clippers played without James Harden. My numbers said even without Harden. Harden is shooting 38% from the field this year. Yes, he's important, obviously, but for shooting 38%, just still thought Clip was worth it as a home dog, given the situation that Houston would be in the look ahead. Houston came to win that game. They got some great performances, and they got the W in that game. Our other game was Orlando Magic. They get a bad break. Look, already without Banchero, with an oblique. And now Franz Wagner, he goes down with the same injury, an oblique. So he's going to miss quite a bit of time. Orlando had rebounded and was playing great even without Banchero. But now but how many points are they worth? So this is what I tell everybody's worth a certain amount of points. When it's what we call a cluster, like here, your 2 top scorers are out. So individually, let's say Banchero was worth 3 and Wagner's worth 3 individually, but together they're worth 7 or more because now you don't have somebody to pick up the scoring. But anyway, there's got to be a number. The opening number on the Magic was 7. The line went down to 1. As good as Wagner is, he's not 6 points. There's one guy that at times is 6 points, and that's the Joker. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, you can see it in my story. You'll see that the Nuggets have like the #1 offensive rating. They're #1 in this, #1 in that, #2 in this, and they're with Joker on the court, and they're 30th or 29th in those same categories with him off the court. So as good as Wagner is, he's not a 6-point guy. And we went against the Suns solely. No KD. Without KD, Phoenix 1-8 now, straight up 2-7 against the spread. So we had to like our chances. All you had to basically do was win the Magic game. So 2-1 for the Magic. Look, some Sundays I want to give you guys NFL. Everybody that bets the NFL. Okay? Everybody that bets doesn't bet NBA. But I bet where the edge is. It would be beneficial for my business, for the Massa Edge business to give out NFL games and try to draw you in. I give out, if I don't have an edge on the game, I give out where there is. Look, I wanted to bet the Chargers last night. Without McConkey, once he was inactive, just could not pull the trigger. So I want to have an edge. I only bet when I got an edge. If Jalen Johnson and Bogdanovich play, I'm on Oaks plus 8.5. For Wednesday, they 7.5 now. Might even go lower, to be honest. Well, I'll tell you what, that game's only going lower if Cat doesn't play. Knicks actually owe the Hawks one from earlier in this year. They lost by 5 at Atlanta. We'll talk more about it. John, did you really love the Clippers bet yesterday? Bet it wasn't feeling really comfortable, so I just went over that. I want to talk about gym shit, ladies, and degenerate gambler stories. Which I want to talk about gym shit when you're going to make a men's health podcast. We'll do that. We'll do that on Instagram. Okay, now I understand. Thanks, John. You're Chero. You're welcome. Guys, this is a great question. I was answering anyway, but this is what I want from you guys. John, why did you bet this game? What did you see that we didn't see? So I can give you, like I said, Orlando came out. He felt a letdown for Memphis, and I'm not saying he's wrong. Definitely could be a letdown for Memphis, and they're basically telling you we're gonna rest Ja and Bane, but also it's a letdown for Washington. They had lost 15 or 16 straight. They beat Denver. Half of their lineup also out. So just giving you the site. So anytime there's a question, just let me have it. And again, 5 days a week I'm here. The chat, I'm not constantly, and I get there once in a while to answer some questions. Just watching some line movement here in the NFL for the weekend. And I've already got the Packers going to 3. 3 dog money. So if you're, again, if you're a Massa Edge member, I've actually got those games rated. You'll see I've got Green Bay rated 28.3 on the road. I've got Seattle rated 26.0 at home. That's a 2.3 difference. Gonna give a half a point for Green Bay that they played on Thursday, little extra time. So I'm like 2.8. And guys, that's why I say I've got the best numbers in the world. And that's why it's so tough to bet the fucking NFL. The line, open 2.5 is now 3 dog money. 3 dog money equates to 2.8. And that's what I've got Green Bay. So just to keep you guys up to date on that. Anyway, what else we got? Any other questions? So yeah, the football game tonight, one small unit bet, plus 5.5. Joe Burrow with an insane year, as I said, 30 TDs to 5 picks. That's a 6-to-1 ratio, and the Bengals are a 4-8 squad going into tonight with basically no hope of making the playoffs, even if they win out. And I just don't know that they're coming with any kind of game. For next week, we talked about a couple of premier games, and that's the Green Bay-Seattle game, as I said. The battle for Pennsylvania, Pitt and Philly will be a great game. And I'm Orlando's team here, Denver. Orlando line just went down to 4. I'll be looking for injuries on that one. Both teams are coming out of the bye. And Colts went into the bye, beat the fuck up, especially their offensive line. Both the original center, Ryan Kelly, and Bortolini, the backup, both missed last game. Braden Smith, another offensive lineman, missed last game. Wide receiver Downs missed the game before. Detroit Buffalo should be a great game, is the game. A possible preview of the Super Bowl. So that's why we talked about Buffalo with possibly a little look ahead going out to LA. Some bullshit. SMU made the college football playoff. ACC is trash. Ali, I got to agree with you. Just go to the power ratings, and if you're a Massa Edge member, you could see I've got, I don't know, 8 teams in the SEC rated better than most of the teams in the ACC. SEC, guys, is the top. They're the top conference by far. So you've got teams like Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State to a certain degree, Indiana to a little bit of lesser degree that could play in there. But I mean, you go down to like Ole Miss and South Carolina. Those teams aren't even mentioned. Both of those teams would be a favorite over SMU. But this is how it is. You've got to give each of the conference at least a couple of teams in there. Look at the Big 12. So they're gonna get just Arizona State in there. And while we're talking about that, was my one loser. So we split out on Saturday. We had Iowa State at +2. Iowa State goes off a 1.5 point favorite, And after let's say the first quarter, I knew I was dead. This fucking kid Scatterboo, I don't know who watched the game, but this kid was bouncing off. It looked like a man amongst boys. Like I was running against 8-year-olds, just pushing them out of the way. They were bouncing off him. He reminded me of Alfred, the old running back from Tampa Bay, the fullback back in the day, if you guys remember him. But that, again, it was a man against boys, and ASU got it done. But again, 3.5 point beat on the number. That's where the sharp money was. We were on the sharp side. Clemson. I went out for dinner. I take my girl out for dinner that night, and I checked the phone, and I see 31-14. Oh, we're cruising with Clemson. I put on the final score 34-31 when I get home. I'm like, what the fuck happened here? Not knowing that SMU comes all the way back, ties up the game, and Clemson's got to win a game, a miracle. Because after you let them tie it up, if you go to overtime, you don't feel good about your chances in that game. But we do get the win with Clemson. We split out those 2 games. Clemson, by them winning, that basically knocked out any chance Miami had. But Miami's got to go to beat Syracuse. So all these teams, who's in there, there's always going to be a question. Whether you open it up to 12 teams, you open it up to 24, the next group of teams. This should be simple. You've got 4 major conferences. Pac-12 is never going to be a major conference. They're going to get teams into that conference next year, but it's never going to be a major conference. The 4 teams, the 4 major conferences, when they have their conference championship, they win. The winners of those should be able to host a playoff game against 4 at-large. Be it the Pac-12, be it an independent like Notre Dame, your next 4 best teams. But it can't be a loser from the conference finals. You understand? So you can't get 2 bites at the apple like Texas is going to get. Texas just lost in the conference. Their season should be over. It's it. Georgia beat them. You should be done. Penn State just lost the Big Ten conference to Oregon. Bye-bye, Penn State. You had your crack. So your top 4 conferences, the conference winners move on. 4 at-large teams that weren't in the conference championships, be it Notre Dame, be it your Boise, or what the next best teams are, and those 4 go on, and then you have 4 games to a semi, to a final, and that should be it. But anyway, that would be my humble opinion. These college kickers better than NFL kickers. They get to kick off a tee. The crazy kick to win for Clemson. They couldn't tackle to save their lives. Iowa State was a disgrace. Arizona State, baby, alumni bet dollars was the biggest bet of the year for me. Bet with your heart. Sometimes it works. Tim, don't ever bet with your heart. Come on. What do you mean you bet with your heart? You got you beat the sharps. That can happen often. 8 teams would be ideal. Allie, that's what I say. Penn State got rewarded for losing pretty much. Should take care of SMU and Boise. Again, so you're just talking about the bracket that they're going to be in. And then they get a pretty easy bracket as compared to the rest of the teams. Anyway, like I said, you lose your conference championship, you're done. That should be it. So, anyway, that's enough about the colleges. You know what? Let's do the colleges for this week coming up because my numbers are already made. They're the best numbers you're going to see anywhere. Max Edge members could go take a peek as we're talking about them. So we got 4 games. Friday night, you start with Indiana at Notre Dame. Guys, I've got Notre Dame 8.2 points better at home than Indiana is on the road. That game is sitting at 7.5. Indiana, and Notre Dame, close proximity. So that's why maybe you hedge the home field a little bit, but I'm around that 8 number again. There's no play there. SMU, Penn State. And this game is climbing higher. SMU looked weak in the beginning of the game. They put on some performance at the end just to force the Clemson to actually make that last second kick. My number's not this high. This game opened 7.5. Right now, Pinnacle is at 9. Bet Online 8.5. DraftKings 8.5. And I could only like SMU here. I've only got Penn State 5.2 points better at home than SMU is on the road. Clemson, Texas. This number pretty much right there. I've got Clemson 38.0 at home. Excuse me, on the road. Texas 49.0 at home. That's an 11-point difference. That's right where the number is. Again, guys, remember, so these games is the Indiana Notre Dame game is Friday, December 20th. So it's not this coming week. You've got it the following week. So not counting in a road 2 games in a row or home 2 games in a row. They'll all have ample time for travel and whatever else. And then the final game, Tennessee at Ohio State. And again, I'm a little higher with Ohio State on this one. I've got Tennessee 40.2 on the road. I've got Ohio State 50.0 at home. It's a 9.8 difference. So this game is at 7.5. So I lean to Ohio State. I hate to lay those big numbers, though, over a touchdown. But the one game I do see is SMU. And it would be SMU or nobody in that one. Remember, these 4 games this week, unlike the conference championships, are all being played at home. So Notre Dame is at home, Penn State's at home, Texas and Ohio State. These are all home games in this first round. NBA, let's talk about it. Knicks just went to 6.5 everywhere. Knicks get Toronto tonight. The initial number was very low. Then there's 2 reasons I didn't jump on the Knicks for tonight's game. Number 1 reason, Cat. He's questionable. He missed the last game, and they lost at home to Detroit. Reason number 2, the Knicks host the Hawks on Wednesday for the opener of that quarterfinal, the NBA Cup quarterfinal. So could be looking past this one a little bit. Maybe you want to get Cat 100% healthy with Cat in the lineup. If you're a Mass Edge member, you can see I've got the Knicks rated 19.2 on the road. I've got Toronto rated 11.2 at home. It's an 8-point difference. Being that Toronto's home, they've been home for a whole homestand. I would hedge it a 0.5 point. I'd make that number look like 7.5 if Cat was in the lineup. With a lead to the Knicks because they had owned Toronto, beating them all 4 meetings last year by a combined 89 points. But again, Cat questionable and the possible look ahead to the Hawks in the opening round. So I don't want the Knicks going for me in this spot just for the fact of Wednesday's game. That's our only NBA game tonight. Tomorrow, we're looking at the 2 quarterfinals to start. That's Magic at Milwaukee, Dallas at OKC. I've got Orlando rated at 13.0 on the road, Milwaukee 19.5 at home. My number is 6.5. This game opened 8.5. and is down to 8 now. So again, coming right to where the Massa Edge numbers say they should be, like they should be. Do I think the Magic could get it done a second straight game? No Banchero, no Wagner. Suggs and the boys going to have to come up with a game. They're going to have to make it really defensive. So we'll see just who's going to stop the freak in this game. Looks like Milwaukee wants this one. Milwaukee Bucks have won the last 8 meetings with the Magic in Milwaukee, 5-3 against the spread. So I would hedge the 6.5 just a little bit higher. It's still Orlando and nobody, but I don't know if I want to force a bet on this one. Dallas and OKC. So first of all, Mavs beat the Thunder last year in the playoffs. Then they went and played November 17th at Oklahoma City, and they went there without Luka and still beat the Thunder. Do you think the Thunder are ready for this one? Thunder are playing real good ball right now. 7-1 their last 8. But the Mavs, 7 straight wins with 6 covers, 6-1 against the spread. My numbers say this game should be 3.7 points. In other words, I've got Thunder 3.7 points better at home than the Mavs are on the road. The line is 4. But I'm going to add in some revenge. Home revenge, playoff revenge. I feel it's a 2-point revenge spot here. So I'm closer to 5.5, maybe a little higher. If this game goes down any bit more, I could be on the Thunder in this one. Just feel that the Thunder, after losing to the Mavs in the playoffs, I can't say the Mavs own the Thunder. It's more of a revenge spot, so I'll look for the Thunder if this game goes any lower. And then we get to Wednesday's 2 games, and that's Hawks Knicks, as I talked about. Really can't get too deep into that one because Knicks are playing today. We don't even know if Cat's going to be playing today. I don't know if they held him out against Detroit because they thought they can beat Detroit. Anytime you hold a star out, you're taking your life in your hands. Now, yesterday it happened. Memphis was able to get by Washington. Washington looks like it's basically 5 guys from LA Fitness. So you held out John Morant and Bane, and you're still able to destroy them. But Knicks hold out Cat, and Detroit goes and beats them on the garden floor. Pistons had lost 16 straight meetings with the Knicks, and that's what happens when you take a guy out. So we'll look to see if Cat plays today. How old do the Knicks play? Do they suffer any other injuries? Remember, Brunson was also questionable going into that game on Saturday. Atlanta, they rested Bogdanovich. They sat Johnson. Are they back for that game? We shall see. Atlanta was playing real good basketball up until last night, and that looked like a give-up game. Atlanta had won 6 straight. They never beat Denver anyway. I just couldn't pull the trigger on Denver on a back-to-back. So there was still no Murray. Gordon was going to play, but you could see he was limited. And could Joker come back with another monster game? And of course he did. And that's why I put that in my story. You guys are an animal. So we'll see how Atlanta's healthy going to the Knicks. And then again, guys, it's we talked about this Golden State-Houston game. Houston, 15 straight losses, including 2 this year to the Warriors, just losing to them this last week in overtime. No, excuse me. They lost at home in overtime. If you guys remember a while back, that was our biggest bet of the year, 5-unit bet. But they lost at Golden State. No Steph Curry, no Dre, no problem for Golden State. They chalk up their 15th straight win. 15 straight wins also includes 8 in a row at Houston. Golden State 7-1 against the spread in those games. Wiggins going to be questionable for Golden State. Van Vliet did not play last night. And again, another reason why I liked the Clippers in that game. Just a total letdown by the Clippers. And Eason, who comes off the bench and gives them some nice minutes, also out the last 2 games with a concussion. Will they be available? We'll wait. We'll see. But there's no way in the world. They ain't beat them in 15 times. What's going to make this one any different? So it's Golden State and nobody in this one. This game, guys, sitting at 2.5. That's the update for Wednesday, Thursday. Warriors been so unpredictable that you absolutely have. Last night, Wiggins is out. Hield steps in. He knocks down the threes. He does what he does. When he can knock down those threes, when he can be that Klay Thompson, poor man's Klay Thompson, if you want to call it, and you got Curry, obviously, it just opened things up. They put Dre back in the starting lineup last night, by the way. They had him come off the bench in that first game, but they put him back in the starting lineup last night when they beat the Timberwolves. I'm going to let you guys ask any questions if you have any. And remember, that's what this is for. That's what this platform is for, especially Master Edge members. You need a further explanation. Very tough for me to explain things in a text, in the chat. So here's your best spot to get a detailed answer. That's it, huh? Not many other questions, guys. If not, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I got all my work done. I'll be still monitoring the numbers. Who do you think wins college football championship? So I don't really do much like that. Even with the NBA or NFL, we're talking futures and stuff. I really concentrate each game at a time. Who do I think wins it? So unpredictable. Look at Georgia. Is Georgia going to have their quarterback? You know, they lost Beck in the game with Texas. Is he going to be back? So there's so much. And a quarterback goes out. It's crazy. If the Lions and Knicks versus Raptors move 7.5, would you take the Rap? Okay. Maybe you didn't hear. Cat's worth 2.5, 3 points to the Lions. I got to see if he's in. It's all about Cat. Have you ever played fantasy football, John? No, I have never. I don't waste my time with it. Guys, I've done one thing. For over 40 years, I'm doing what I do right now. First as a book, and then as a bettor. You had to make lines as a book. What happened was, so you guys know, my dad was one of the main guys in New York at the time. And we're going to talk about going back to the 70s, the late 70s. I was a teenager. He was already taking me into the office on weekends. That's how busy an office he had just to answer phones, learning the business. Learning the business, I would see certain guys fucking would win. Certain guys didn't have a chance. You'd write their slip and we threw it a pile. There was a sucker pile and there was a sharp pile. The sharp pile was your guys like Billy Walters, the computers, the coaches, the guys that ran the business, the guys that won. And I would see how they would bet. And as I looked into it, I would find out why they would bet. So now I got to a point, especially in the NBA. So a guy Stevie Z used to run the NBA. He was the guy that moved the NBA lines, one of the first guys. There were a few. But I would be able to tell my old man, they're going to bet this tonight. They're going to bet. I would tell him ahead of time. He was an old school book. He didn't understand. He's like, you can't beat 11 to 10. He felt that the no matter what, you're not going to beat the books 11 to 10. And being a student of math, trying to make him understand that you're not really laying 11 to 10 if you're beating the number by 3 points. In other words, if the game is a solid, when I say solid, in other words, when a game closes, that's what the right line is. The sharps don't see any more edge. That's when they stop betting a game. They bet, so what they bet yesterday? I just want to find a good example for you guys. They bet the Lakers down to 6.5 or 7, depending on your book, with LeBron James being out. So that's it. They take Portland, but that no lower than that. Now that game closed 9. That landed on 9. So if that's the right number, you're going to win 50% of those games. You're going to lose 50% of those games. But the original number was 9. So if I could have took 9, now I take a push on that game. So when you're beating the number, say in that situation, 2.5 points from 9 to 6.5, 7. I'm not laying 11 to 10. If I had to buy that, what would I spend buying that number from 6.5, 7 up to 9 to get the push? So you understand? Each half a point you beat the number, you take away from the book's advantage. Once you've got a 2-point edge, you're booking the book. And that's what I give my guys. Okay? We bet Philadelphia 76ers we bet them Saturday for yesterday +2. 76ers closed as a 3-point favorite. That's a 5-point swing. We bet the Magic -1 in the morning. That game went off 2.5. Just that point and a half. We're now the book. So again, just give us the winners. There's nobody could just give you the winners. You're a fucking square if you think like that. If you think these jerk-offs really hit 80% with their mega whale bets, you're a jerk-off. Here's what you could do. You could beat the number. And at the end of the year, beat the number day in, day out, and you're going to have the edge at the end of the year. You're going to win the money. You're not going to lose that 52.4%, less than that. You're not going to win less than that percent because you've got the edge. It's a numbers game, guys. At that point, it's just a numbers game. Doesn't matter if you even know basketball or not. If you're beating a number, 2 points every game, every day, you'll overcome the 11 to 10. And that's because games will fall on the number. Nothing about that? No further explanation needed? All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We got up to 150 today. I really appreciate it. How about a like, a comment, a retweet? If I get 150 fucking two guys to do that, we're in business, baby. We'll have 300 guys on Thursday. So we'll be back Thursday. Gave you a rundown for tonight, Tuesday and Wednesday's games. Guys, you also could follow me on Instagram. And what you should do by right now, guys, Massa Edge. Everybody should be a member. $299 a month. You get a preview on every game. You get previews on college basketball games. I don't do college basketball, but you get a preview on them. We've got a hockey page. You get a preview on those. Obviously, NFL, NBA, every game, every day. And then if I make a bet, you get a further preview telling you why exactly I bet that game. And as a matter of fact, before I go, let's show it to some of the guys that don't know. Here's my page, guys. So here's our 3 bets for yesterday. It was Magic -1. Clippers, unfortunately, +1.5 before we knew the injury for Harden. And 76ers +2. And again, just to give you a quick, like the Magic, brutal blow for Orlando as they lose star Franz Wagner to a torn oblique. Magic already without leading scorer Banchero. But Suns are back-to-back and in third city in 4 days. They've lost the first 2 games of this trip and are 0-5, 1-4 against the spread, last 5 road games, and are 1-8, 2-7 against the spread in 9 games without Kevin Durant. So again, instead of just telling you, here, go bet this team, they're the better team, give you a real reason, in depth, the numbers, why, the ratings. If again, you're looking at my ratings for those 2 teams, you've got Phoenix is a 14.0 on the road. Orlando is 17.0 at home. That's a 3-point difference. You've got Phoenix coming back-to-back. Everything says, let's bet Orlando, even without Wagner, even without Banchero, and that's what we did. Again, that's why you're dealing here with the best NBA handicapper in the world. Guys, follow me here each weekday, except tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll be back on Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern, and let's make some money.